Good morning, everyone. This is Jeffe Kennedy, author of Epic Fantasy Romance. I'm here with my first cup of coffee. Ah, that tastes good. On this crisp morning, which is a, say it with me, Friday. Yay! It is, Friday, October 6th. And I have a bunch of things to talk to you all about today. I want to talk to you some updates on cool things about me putting my audiobooks up free on YouTube, and thoughts on things being free versus piracy. I also want to talk about WandaVision. I know I'm late to the party there. And about people giving advice, mentoring, coaching, that sort of thing, which I'm fully aware here I am offering mentoring and coaching, and I'm going to be throwing some stones. So stand by for peeves. So, first of all, I had meant to say that having put the audiobooks up free on YouTube, following Lindsay Baroker's wonderful example, and uh, I have got 4 books up on there, soon to be 5, uh, has been great. I have got enough subscribers to my channel that it monetizes now. Sorry about the ads, but they pick them. And it's between the podcast and the audiobooks, I'm actually making more money off of YouTube than the other audiobook royalty services. So that tells you something. And then I know that it's always a push pull, trying to decide when do we put things up for free? When is it devaluing? But I was really delighted that someone who's started listening to the books recently, has listened up through Shadow Wizard on YouTube, sent me several really nice notes saying that I think I'm assuming she, but I don't know for sure, refers to their husband, but said that they got the husband listening to and loved Shadow Wizard and were just so delighted. And people occasionally send me tips through YouTube, which is cool that YouTube's providing that opportunity. And she sent me $20 with that note, and it was like such a wonderful thing, because I know that a lot of creators out there are very concerned about piracy and worrying about stuff like, books being used to train the language learning models that some people call AI, but isn't AI. Reference previous podcast for that particular rant. Um, and, you know, we don't pay so much attention to the people who voluntarily and generously give money to creators in appreciation, because those people are out there too. And I have so many readers who, if they get advance review copies, which they almost never get advances anymore because I'm never ahead of time anymore, but they would buy the book anyway to support me. Uh, it's it's a really, human nature is a lovely thing. We tend to focus on the downsides of it. And it reminded me of a story that Amanda Palmer told in her book, The Art of Asking, which I think is an excellent book, um, where she said that, she's always known that people pirated her music or didn't necessarily pay for her music, and that kind of thing goes around. And she said that at one of her concerts, this guy came up to her and said that he felt really bad because he had discovered her music and listened to it entirely through bootlegs, and he shoved some cash into her hand and walked away because he felt like he needed to give her some money. Um, and she was perfectly happy with that. So I know that it gets frustrating out there because you feel like there are people scamming off of us, which there are. I think the most frustrating ones are the pirate sites where they charge people to be members of the site, and then give them our books to, they're making a living off of pirating our books. Um, but I think that the people, I still stand by something I've said for years now, that people who pirate books, people who try to get books for free, are not the people who would have paid for them anyway. You can't force people to pay for things if they don't want to. Whereas there are many people out there who do want to send money to the creators that bring them joy. And that's such an awesome thing. So thank you. If you listen to this podcast, I think you may only listen to the audiobooks, but that just really made my day. It meant so much. I am working away on Twisted Magic. Rogue Familiar is now being pulled out of Audible exclusive, and so I will be uploading that to YouTube soon. Uh, and it will also be available wide for those of you who listen wide. And I'm at like 35,000 words on Twisted Magic. Am I going to make the October 30th release date? Almost certainly not. But I am picking up pace. So I'm not sure what it will look like. I'm waiting to see how the next couple of weeks go before I reframe my actual release date. It'll be like a week or two longer. But I am finally getting the flow of the story, and my life is a little bit more normal. Um, we talk about writing through the disruptive periods, and boy, it ain't always easy. So, along those lines, I do want to talk a little bit about author coaching out there. And in particular, this is difficult because I don't really want to slam anyone in particular, but I am going to kind of hit on this one. That one of the gals I know said that she really loves this particular podcast, and I'm trying to figure out how to talk about this. Yeah, I'm trying to file off the serial numbers. But anyway, the person giving advice said that if writing isn't fun, and this is someone who started writing, has written a few books, and found themselves burning out on it. And now they do all this, author coaching and stuff, and have the podcast where they talk about these things. And I think you just have to be wary. You have to look at the source, because there are so many people out there, and I know this is a perennial theme for me, but I feel like it can't be said enough times, that you have to look at, where is this person making their money? If they're giving you advice on how to write books, and they're not actually making a living at writing the books, they're making a living at giving the advice, then you have to look at, how good is this advice? Somebody told me that a very famous person who sells Facebook ads classes, uh, she was looking at his books on Amazon, and she's pretty good at knowing from her own sales, from Amazon Rank and so forth. She knows pretty much how much money a person's making on a particular book. She can, kind of calculate it out. And I trust her math. She's a sharp person. And she said, this guy is not making money on his books. He's making money teaching authors how to do Facebook ads on books, which, you just have to consider the source, right? I think okay, so here's another example. And I apologize for my waffling on this, because I really don't want to call out anyone in particular, because there's a lot of people doing this. It's very common. So apparently, because so many romance authors are concerned about the I don't know how much of it is verifiable, but that Amazon Kindle Unlimited is paying romance books less than other books, um, probably because they're taking up such a big piece of the pie. And so a lot of romance authors are going to direct sales through their websites. And apparently there's this whole rush, and I'm hearing this secondhand from someone else, but apparently there's this whole rush where people are teaching classes, offering classes to teach authors how to do direct sales to their websites, which involves a lot of like Facebook ads. So the theme here is that these authors are paying out money, right? They're paying out money to take the class, and they're paying out money for the Facebook ads. And are they making the money back through direct sales? I don't know. I do direct sales through my website. I know a lot of you buy my books through my website. That is where I get my highest percentage. Uh, and it's great. But I also don't mind if you buy through a retailer. I buy so much stuff direct from Amazon because of the one click thing on the Kindle, and I have no shame about it. I totally would not blame you if that's what you prefer to do. In this world of complexity and limited amounts of time to do things, one if you can one click something, more power to you. So anyway, back to this thing. So when you look at people rushing to teach classes, and I do feel a little uncomfortable talking about this just because I'm like going to put some classes online. I'm going, I have my Discord. I do ask people to contribute to help me do things. Um, I try very, very hard to provide the best information I can. And I'm not saying that other people are not, but I think you just want to look at, are they making money doing the thing that they're teaching, right? Are they successful at what they are teaching, or are they teaching or coaching because they're not successful at doing the thing? Um, so, anyway, there's some advice out there that you will burn out if writing isn't fun, if it becomes a thing that you have to do. And there, there's some, I agree with this to some extent. Um, I think that it's very true that it's critical to retain the sense of play and joyfulness that comes from creating. Uh, Whatever you can do to make it joyful, to rediscover, the thrill of storytelling, all of those things, yes, are important. Um, and I've got two arguments, however. One, this is not why people burn out. I know plenty of authors who are having fun and burned out anyway. And then two, I just blanked on my second point. That's funny. Um, oh, the whole have to thing. So you could tell that this advice comes from someone who does not make their living as a writer. Because if you make your living as a writer, if you are a career author, like I am, I feel like I can claim that with for almost since end of 2015, so quite a few years now. I've been supporting my family with my writing, and it's not always easy, but it is the career I wanted. And I think it's the goal for many of us. We say, oh, well, the dream is to be a full time writer, not to have to do anything else, which is true. But that doesn't mean that you are the, I don't know, stereotypical image of the successful author where flounce around in big bonnets all day in your house by the ocean and eat bonbons and yell for your cabana boy. I mean, if only, right? But if you are a career author, if you are writing for a living, then then this is a job. I mean, you are writing for a living, which is why, to circle back, just a small amount, it's so great when people, send money, that people are like, I support what you're doing and I want you to have some income for, this thing that you created that we loved. Uh, but, if you're paying the mortgage with your writing, if you're paying your utility bills and you're self-insuring for health insurance and all of these things, then then yeah, it's a have to. You have to write. You don't get to be the dreamy artist in the garret writing when the muse finds you. Every single author I know who is writing for a living, they they make themselves do it. It's like that favorite quote of mine that I bring up often, Eudora Welty. I don't down at my desk when I'm inspired to write. I sit down at my desk in case I'm inspired. Uh, you can't force the creativity, but you can build good work habits. And some of that is, I'm sorry to say, folks, some of that is the have to. Uh, if you don't make that time to write, if you don't hold your own feet to the fire and put in the time and put in the effort, then the thing will not get written. And, you know, countless times, probably the thing I hear most from people when they find out that I'm a writer is they say, "Oh, I've always wanted to write a book. I just can't find the time." And that they're waiting for that time to fall in their laps, which, spoiler, it will not. Um, should it always be fun? No. I mean, this is why I often bring up Neil Gaiman's analogy that writing a novel is a process of laying bricks, and that you lay down one brick after the other, and that some days the bricks flow and they go in nicely and you get a bunch down, and other days it is toiling in the hot sun and you are blistering your fingers and it sucks. And what he says, and every single writer I've ever talked to says the same thing: when you go back to the work, you cannot tell which days were the wonderful bricklaying days and which ones were the sucky bricklaying days. It does not have to be fun, people. It's work, it's effort, it's pulling something that doesn't exist from another place and bringing it into this world. Um, you have to make yourself do it, and it's not always fun. If you can find the fun in it, great, great. But thinking that being a writer means that it's always going to be fun and that it's always going to be something that you are, friskily jaunting off to do, is that's just bad advice. I'm sorry. I think that's bad advice. it's it perpetuates a really damaging myth about creativity. Now, if you're not trying to make a living at it, great. You can treat it like something where you do it when you feel like it. Um, but I don't know anybody for whom writing is not a lot of effort, which is very often not particularly fun. There are fun parts, but not always. Um, the key to avoiding burnout, and I've talked about this many, many times, uh, is to have other fun things. I do believe very strongly in the non-monetized creativity. That's not my invention. Other people have come up with it. I've talked often about the poet laureate, whose name I can't recall now, but how he painted. And he had a firm rule that, and he was an excellent painter as well, but he had a firm rule that he never ever sold his paintings. He only kept them or gave them as gifts, because he knew that he needed a creative outlet that was not connected to money. So if you are trying to make money as a writer, which you don't have to, right? That's not a requirement. You could choose for it to be a hobby. I knew a woman who never showed her work to anyone but her critique group. She'd never sent it to any editors. And some people will say, well, that they're not worried about giving their writing to anyone else to read. Up to you. But if you are trying to make a living as a writer, if you are trying to earn money from your writing, which is my whole lens, right? Be a professional writer means that you make your living at it. Well, it means that you make money from it. It means that that's your focus, not paying other people to teach you how to do it, or at least not beyond a certain point. Um, then have something that you do for creative fun that's not connected to money. And there's other ways. I've talked about burnout a lot on here. Uh, paying attention to the well, aggressively refilling the well, which is what the non-monetized creativity does. Um, but this idea that things should always be fun and that it won't feel like I have to is, yeah, I just really worry about the effect that that has. So that's my rant for the day. I didn't get to talking about WandaVision. I'll talk about that on Monday. I hope that you all have a fantastic weekend, enjoying the beautiful autumn weather or spring weather if you're in the other hemisphere. And yeah, I will talk to you all on Monday. You all take care. Bye bye.